The new worker at the office here complained the other day, the paper cutter is not working, it's only tearing paper, can you fix it? Well, there was nothing wrong found with the paper cutter, and after a brief discussion, the paper cutter was actually cutting paper and not tearing it, so that prompted this video. Here I'll share a little bit about the secrets of paper cutters and scissors, because these are mechanically the same. They operate under the same principles. Two pieces of sharpened metals come together that rotate about a pivot point. Same on a paper cutter. The paper cutter has one fixed blade that's mounted on the base, another blade that moves with the arm but is mounted solidly on the arm, and these two blades come together as they pivot around this pivot point here. So scissors and these paper cutters are basically mechanically the same, or in principle. In this video I'll explain 3 reasons that cause tearing of the paper and what you can do about it. First one, rivet fail. The rivet is this part here in the scissors. There you can see the rivet's head. It's like a nail head. This one is a nice dome head, and just like nails have nail shank, rivets have rivet shank. It's a short one. It only goes through these two blades in the scissors. And on the other side here, where the shank comes through, a secondary rivet head is formed. The secondary rivet head is not as nice and big and mushroomy as the first one, but the second head is keeping the two halves together, and sometimes the secondary head fails and the two blade halves come apart, and that of course causes the scissors to not work, or if the gappage is too big, then they just wobble because there's too much of a gap between them. So it's very easy to fix. Take it down to the shop and put it on a vise or some suitable hardened surface, not the laminated countertop at the office. So in this case, this pair of pliers will be standing in for a bench vise, and let's see, where do I place my hands, and put the rivet on it so that it's pivoting or touching only the rivet head, just like so. And because this rivet is made of a very soft steel known as low carbon steel or mild steel, it forms very easily. It can be, the secondary rivet head can be formed by simple hand tools such as this hammer, and that's exactly what needs to be done if this rivet, secondary rivet head, fails. It needs to be mushroomed out a little bit, but not beaten uncontrollably, but beaten in a pattern that displaces metal starting from the center of the rivet head towards its edge. It's a glancing blow when you roll the tool towards the edges evenly in a circular motion. So you go around it like so, blow by blow. I'm gonna, the hammer, this small hammer, even this small hammer is too big. I can't have the rivet close enough to the camera and fit the hammer in here, but it looks somewhat like this, like so. You're rolling the hammer during your hammer blows towards the outside. It looks somewhat like this. Alright, so that's what you can do about if the rivet fails. Don't hammer the rivet so hard that it makes the scissors so tight that it takes 2 people to open it. Okay, that's not the point of forming the secondary rivet head. Light blows with a small hammer, like a jeweler's hammer or something light. Like this actually is a small hammer. Alright, there's got to be a little gappage ideally between the two blades when they come together. Let me see if I can show you this gappage. If I can focus the camera, maybe this way. There, I'm rotating the handle so the gappage opens between the two blades, which is a dark line there where the two metals meet, and now I'm making the dark line disappear. Open it, close it. So there's got to be half a quarter millimeter, half a millimeter, 1 millimeter gap, whatever it is. There's got to be some gap, not much, but there's got to be some gappage between the two so it can be opened effortlessly. Let me see. Yeah, this one has some friction in it, as you can see. Let's see this one. Yeah, this one has a lot less friction, so this one has more play. Let's see how it looks like when I hold it against the camera there. Let me steady my hand. There, it's got some play in it. All right, so that's what I wanted to share about rivet fail as one reason that causes torn edges and tearing paper instead of cutting it or shearing it. The second reason is a geometric reason. The scissors need to be bent. Same for the paper cutter. This needs to be bent. I'll show you how. They need to be kind of straight this way, but the blades need to bend together. When the scissors is closed, only the tips should be touching. There should be a gap between. There you can see the paper cutter through it, and you can see the red of the plastic handle of the other scissors. There you can see there is some gap between the two blades. They are only touching at the tip. So these blades shouldn't lie flat. Don't hammer them flat. How a cut is made with these two curved blades, when they swing open like so or rotate open, the point of cutting is made close to the pivot point. That's where the two blades crisscross. As the blades are rotated, the point of contact migrates forward or moves forward along the blade. So when the scissor blades are closed, only the tips touch, just like so, with a gap between them. And the same is true for the paper cutter. Let's see if I can get you. This is just closed now as is, and at a nice angle I can get you a picture where you can see light through it. There we have it. You can see my fingers through it. So there should be this gappage between the two blades. These need to be curved as well, slightly. And if the blades are bent, especially bent away from each other, that's a sad situation. You're gonna have to restore its geometry, and it's not restored by putting it on a flat surface and hammering it flat. That doesn't help it. It needs to be curved a little bit. After it's made flat, it's a good start. After that, it needs to be bent nicely and evenly. Let me try to show you this curvature of the blade using this straight edge. This straight edge is just a knife blade, like so, a box cutter or X-Acto knife blade. Let's see if I can get a good picture this way, placing my hands like so. I'm just experimenting. So I'm expecting the knife blade to touch the scissors there, close to the tip of the knife blade, as well as close to the tip of the scissors blade, and I expect a gap to be seen. If I can get a good light there, you can see some light through it. You can see the blue of the handle behind it there. That's nice sharp picture. And if I get the tip of the scissors in focus, you can see that it touches the cutting edge of the knife blade there, and the same applies to the tip of the knife there, really close to that rivet head with a gap between the two of them. So this much curvature should be between or on the cutting edge. Okay, this shouldn't lie flat. Don't flatten it. It's not gonna work, because if they are flat, the two blades are just gonna glide by each other, and the amount of clearance the rivet provides them in the first place, that's just gonna be maintained evenly. There shouldn't be. There should be clearance only at the point of rotation, and past that the blades should be in contact with each other, and our contact point should move along the length of the blade during the cut. The second thing about that concerns the geometry of the blade is that these blades need to be forced together during the cut. Okay, if the rivet has so much clearance that it allows the blades to be further apart, they are never going to make a cut, maybe only at the tip. So they need to be pushed together. They need the clearance so that it can be opened effortlessly, but in operation these two blades need to be twisted together. So this upper blade in this configuration needs to be twisted this way, and the lower blade needs to be twisted this way. Okay, and you do it instinctively. Let me just put it on my hands. This blade and this blade, they are turned against each other or into each other. So that means that I'm pulling with both of my hands, curling my fingers in and curling my thumb in to force the two blades to come together. You learn how to cut with the scissors instinctively, that you curl your fingers and thumb in, okay, to force the blades together. So if you are pushing with one, say pushing with your thumb, that may also work, but the idea is, again, if you apply forces that cancel each other to make the gap bigger, that's not going to work, because that's going to open the gap into even bigger. The same applies to this paper cutter. If I pry it open like so, you can see a huge gap. It's never going to cut this way, and there's no cutting sound because the blades never meet. I have to push the blade that way. Now it produces a cutting sound as the two metal blades are actually in contact with each other. The last item on the list that causes torn cuts and bad cuts is dulling. Because the blades are always in constant friction with each other, they need to be made of hardened steel to withstand the dulling. Dulling means, and I made a picture for this is how the cutting edge looks like. This surface here is the face of the scissors. Even though you put it down this way and you think you're looking at the face, no, the cut is made with this bevel here. There you can see it's somewhat serrated, and the bevel is high on this side and the bevel is low on this side. Okay, so the cross section of this blade looks somewhat like this, where you have the face and the back oriented that way and the bevel is there. So the edge is formed there, and this edge should be free of nicks and gouges and chips. Okay, so to have sharp edges, first cut material the scissors are intended for. If it's tin snips and for cutting sheet metal, then it's made and designed and hardened to do that. But if it's like this, then so cut the appropriate material with it. And like I said, this surface should be curving, but as a surface it should be flat. And that doesn't mean not curving along its entire length, but flat, meaning especially where the cut is made at the bevel, that it shouldn't have any wavy lines in it, or any chips or nicks or missing parts or gouged out or anything such. Alright, so if this bevel edge, if the blades are not made of the right kind of steel, if it's made out of steel the rivet is made of, which is low carbon steel or mild steel, then the bevels, even if they do have the correct shape, after two cuts of paper severing wood fiber, they are gonna be rounded and you're gonna have to sharpen it again. So not only the cutting tip and this cutting bevel and the face geometry needs to work out, but the scissors and the paper cutter needs to be made edges need to be made of the right material. So what can you do about it if you have dollar store scissors made out of a very soft steel that cannot be hardened, and even if it's sharpened it dulls in two cuts? Nothing. Buy yourself a set of scissors that actually hold an edge, and they are made of high carbon steel, alloy steel or medium carbon steel. Go to a quality supplier and actually pay a price that's appropriate to the material being used in the scissors. So dollar store scissors may or may not work. Alright, so that's what I want to share about the secrets of scissors and paper cutters, and the three major reasons that cause tearing and lots of grief when wailing and sadness. Thank you very much for watching.